Long, long ago, in a town that sat between the great river and the tall mountains, there lived a girl who owned nothing but her shadow. Her name was Amina. Amina was not born homeless. Once upon a time, she had a mother who loved her like the sun loves the earth. Her mother told her stories every night, songs that danced in the air like fireflies. But sickness came, quick and heavy like a storm, and took her mother away. Her father was never known, and so Amina was left alone. She was still very young, no more than 13 rains had passed over her head, when she began to live on the streets of the busy town. Every day, Amina woke before the cocks crowed. She would find a corner by the marketplace, her stomach empty, her eyes wide with hope. She begged for leftover food, sometimes roasted maize, sometimes the peel of yam, sometimes just water in a broken calabash. The townspeople looked at her in many ways. Some pitied her, others ignored her. Children sometimes mocked her with songs. Amina with no mat. Amina with no pot. Amina with no home. The wind is her roof. But Amina never fought them. She only smiled, and sometimes she even clapped along with their cruel songs. Deep inside her, she told herself, the sun will still shine on me. One day, the river will flow my way. Her clothes were torn, her hair was rough, but her spirit was bright. She had one gift that no poverty could steal, a kind heart. Even when she had nothing, she still shared. If someone gave her 2 pieces of roasted groundnut, she would eat one and give the other to a smaller child. If she found a piece of bread on the ground, she would wash it with water and share it with a stray dog. The market women noticed this. One of them, Mama Ifioma, often said, "This child has a heart like palm oil, she spreads warmth everywhere." But not everyone agreed. Others would hiss. Kindness does not fill the stomach. Kindness does not buy cloth. Still, Amina never stopped. She believed that the world was like a drum, you beat it with kindness, and one day it will return the sound. Elders often say, no one knows where the rain that will fall tomorrow will come from. So it was with Amina. One evening, after the market had closed and the last traders had gone home, Amina sat under a tree chewing a piece of sugarcane she had picked up. The moon was fat and yellow, smiling down at the earth. As she chewed, an old man in ragged clothes walked past. His hair was white like cotton, and his walking stick tapped the ground gently. Most people would have turned away, for the man looked like a wanderer. But Amina stood up and greeted him with respect. "Good evening, Baba," she said, bowing her head. The man stopped. His eyes were tired, but they shone like stars. "Child, why do you greet me?" Others turned their faces. Amina smiled. "Because you are human, Baba. The tree does not stop being a tree because its bark is rough." The old man nodded slowly, as though her words were more precious than gold. "You have spoken well. Remember, child, the eyes of destiny are always watching." And with that, he walked into the night, leaving Amina with a strange warmth in her chest. That night, Amina lay on the cold ground, her mat made of dry leaves. The stars blinked above her like 1,000 small fires. She whispered to herself, half asleep, "One day, I will have a roof. One day, I will have food in a pot. One day, I will not be called homeless." And as sleep carried her away, she dreamt of walking into a palace, her feet stepping on soft mats, her hands filled with blessings. She dreamt of faces smiling at her, not with pity but with love. She woke up with tears in her eyes, not from sadness but from hope. For in her heart, she believed, the world is wide, and tomorrow is still unborn. Yet, the days continued hard. During the dry season, the harmattan winds blew dust into her eyes. During the rainy season, she hid under broken stores to escape the cold water that poured from the sky. One afternoon, a wealthy woman passed by with her servants. She saw Amina sitting by the roadside, hungry and weak. Instead of helping, the woman threw an orange peel at her and laughed. "Look at her. She belongs to the ground," the woman sneered. The servants laughed too. But Amina picked up the peel, washed it in water, and ate it with gratitude. Then she whispered, "Even the peel has sweetness if you chew it with patience." But fate is like a hunter's arrow, it may fly long, but it always finds its mark. One day, as Amina sat by the marketplace, a loud noise swept through the town. Drums beat, voices shouted, and dust rose into the air. The billionaire is coming, the people cried. Oba Adewale, the richest man in the land. Men and women rushed to the roadside. Children jumped and clapped. Traders abandoned their stores to catch a glimpse. Amina sat quietly under her tree, watching. She had heard of Oba Adewale, the man whose wealth was like an ocean. They said he had houses in many lands, cars that shone like mirrors, and servants who served him day and night. But they also said his heart was made of stone. Still, Amina was curious. She hugged her knees and waited as the crowd roared louder. And soon, like thunder rolling on wheels, the convoy of the billionaire entered the town. The sound of drums shook the market. The air was full of dust and shouting. Children screamed, "He is here! He is here!" Women clapped and sang. Old men leaned on their sticks to see better. The convoy of Oba Adewale entered the town. The first car was big and black, shining like water under the sun. Another followed, then another, until the whole road was filled with cars. Men in dark glasses sat inside, watching the crowd with sharp eyes. At the center was a long silver car. It hummed like a lion resting after a hunt. Inside that car sat the man himself, Oba Adewale, the billionaire. His name was known everywhere. People said his riches were deeper than the ocean. They said his houses touched the clouds, and his ships carried treasures across the sea. Whenever his name was spoken, people lowered their voices. But he was not a man of smiles. His face was handsome but hard, like a carved mask. His eyes were sharp, his lips thin. He spoke few words, but when he did, men obeyed. People respected him, yes. They feared him, yes. But love was far from him. Many called him the man with the stone heart. In his mansion, there was everything a man could wish for. Servants moved about quietly. Tables carried food that 10 families could not finish in one night. Clothes of silk and velvet filled his rooms. Yet, when night came, silence sat with him. He had no wife. He had no child. Sometimes he stared into the mirror and asked himself, "Of what use is gold if my heart is empty?" But pride would whisper to him, "You are great. You are powerful. You need nothing." And so, he covered his loneliness with more riches. In the town, men were careful when his name was mentioned. If a man owed him even one coin, he could not sleep until it was paid. If a servant angered him, that servant would be thrown out like waste. Children whispered tales, that he never forgave, that he never laughed, that his heart was locked inside an iron chest. Yet, the elders would say, even the hardest iron bends in the fire. And indeed, the fire of life was already waiting for him. As the convoy moved through the crowd, Oba Adewale looked out of the window. Faces pressed together, sweating and shouting. Men called his praises, women raised their hands, children ran barefoot in the dust. But then, he saw her. Under a large tree at the edge of the market sat a girl. She was not clapping. She was not shouting. She only sat there, her knees held close to her chest, her eyes quiet, her lips soft with a small smile. Her clothes were torn, her hair rough, her feet bare. But in her eyes shone something strange, something gentle, something strong. For a moment, Oba Adewale felt his chest stir. It was a feeling he had not known for years. Quickly, he turned his face away. Pride whispered, "Do not look at beggars. You are a king among men." But his heart had already asked a question, who is that girl? The convoy stopped at the town square. Drummers played louder. Praise singers called his names, the pillar of wealth, the lion of fortune, the river of gold. Elders bowed before him, bringing kola nut and palm wine. Oba Adewale stepped out of his car. His agbada was white like fresh cotton. His cap sat high. His shoes shone like a mirror. the crowd roared. But while everyone's eyes were on him, his eyes searched for the girl. At that moment, Amina bent down quietly to pick up an orange peel from the dust. She washed it with a little water, then chewed it slowly, as if it was the sweetest fruit in the world. Oba Adewale's brow tightened. His heart, long cold, trembled like a drum touched by the wind. He looked again. And again. But then his guards blocked his view, and the music of the drum swallowed the silence of his thoughts. The people did not know what had just passed between the rich man and the homeless girl. Even Oba Adewale himself did not understand. Amina too did not know. But the spirits of destiny knew. They smiled in the unseen world. The elders say, when two rivers are meant to meet, no storm can stop them. They will keep flowing until they join. And so it was with Amina, the homeless girl, and Oba Adewale, the billionaire. The crowd danced. The drums beat. The praises rose. But beneath it all, fate had already tied two lives together. And soon, very soon, the world would see what happens when the poorest child and the richest man walk the same path.